Today, I'm going to be bringing you some haunting lost Jurassic Park media that up until now has been long forgotten. And this stuff can only be described as truly the stuff of nightmares. Jurassic Park is famous for its prehistoric giants, but what about the unexplainable shadows, the whispers in the dark, and the true ghosts of Jurassic? Well, prepare yourself to uncover the chilling truth behind the park's most unsettling secrets, and a project which has been long forgotten. And that, my friends, is the official project of Jurassic Park Extinction and Jurassic Park Evolution. And I'm not talking about the game Jurassic Park Evolution, I'm talking about Evolution. But I'll get into that later. Let's cover Jurassic Park Extinction. You see, what you're seeing on screen right now is a time pre-Jurassic World, circa 2000, and it was the first official Halloween Horror Nights in Island of Adventure in Universal Studios Orlando. And this is where they decided to bring Jurassic Park to Halloween Horror Nights. But there's a huge dark twist in all of this. Now, I am going to say before we get started, some parts of this can be considered quite gruesome, so you have been warned. Now let's start with Jurassic Park Extinction. Now, Jurassic Park Extinction was one of 6 scare zones that was featured during Halloween Horror Nights Island of Fear, the first ever Halloween Horror Nights hosted in Islands of Adventure, Orlando, Florida. And Jurassic Park Extinction obviously was hosted in the Jurassic Park area. This area launched to the public in 2002. Universal would create a tie-in story with the Jurassic Park film franchise for this scare zone and a haunted house, which we'll talk about later, which was in the same area. You see, the scare zone, first of all, had a storyline with humans and dinosaur DNA, creating human-dinosaur hybrids. Funny enough, this is just after Jurassic Park 3 came out and the build-up to, at the time, the unreleased Jurassic Park 4, which was going to feature human-dinosaur hybrids. Pretty grotesque, but I've covered that on another video, so check it out after this. You see, this scare zone was meant to be an official tie-in to the movies, and the zone itself was called Jurassic Park Extinction, not to be confused with Jurassic Park Evolution, which is the scare house we'll talk about later. Roaming the Jurassic Park area after dark were various dinosaur men. Some were regular men with dinosaur heads, and others were a complete fusion of the two. Pretty grotesque looking, and get this, the first ever official Jurassic Park hybrid. This hybrid was created by Dr. Burton, who's basically one of the antagonists for the zone, and it's called the Grebendiu. Hope I pronounced that right. It resembles a large snake-like creature with a large head, massive fins, a long split jaw, and a sharp beak above it. This was the first ever hybrid for Jurassic Park Jurassic World, and the creator, Jim Udenberg, claims that it was a genome comprised of sea snakes and other aquatic animals. And you see, this is where things get interesting. This hybrid was designed as a practical effect that would jump out of foliage to scare frightened park goers. But on top of that, if any of you ever been to a Halloween Horror Nights, you'll know that the scare zones can be pretty intense, and that's where these human/dinosaur hybrids come in, and they are pretty grotesque looking. You can see the human/Dilophosaurus man, whose skin seems to be fused with that of the side of a Dilophosaurus head. You have the pterodactyl man, which seems to resemble a pterodactyl but in the shape of a man. And then you have literally Dino Man, which seems to be some type of Triceratops human hybrid man mask. Not to mention some generic lab-going men which seem to have been mutated as well, coupled with, the usual special effects, fog, loud noises, etc. All of this would have been coupled with dinosaur sounds screeching and screaming in the background. But the real pinnacle and the crown jewel here isn't the scare zone as such, but it's the haunted house based on Jurassic Park, and that is Jurassic Park Evolution. Now, some parts of this were incredibly gruesome, featuring gore, severed heads, scare actors, and everything else in between. Now, you're thinking, hang on, where would this house be located? Because if any of you have ever been to Florida, Universal, and the Jurassic Park area, you'll know it's quite linear and doesn't have much space or anything. But that's now in 2025. In 2002, when this first came out, there was an entire attraction there which had a load of space, and that was the Triceratops Discovery Trail. That later goes on to become completely abandoned and left to rot until around 2015-2016 when they built the Velocicoaster. But I've covered that again in another video. You see, they turned the Triceratops Discovery Trail into a haunted house attraction. Universal would create an original tie-in story for this house, in which a mad scientist named Dr. Burton, which also is the same name of a Dr. Burton in the comic series of Jurassic Park, mixing human and dinosaur DNA to create human-dinosaur hybrids. And to help build this haunted house, Universal would actually use props from the movies, which came from the Boneyard. But get this, the attraction itself was mostly outdoors, and would bring guests through many wooded paths and various labs, one of which would contain a giant Triceratops animatronic. You see, this was part of the normal Triceratops Discovery Trail, although they repurposed it completely to make it a scare attraction, putting up walls, strobe lighting, gore, and scare actors inside of this pen. And not only that, as you continue through the haunted house, there was a few rooms scattered throughout the attraction, and seemingly the house was a lot darker than any of the others of that year. Guests would make their way through a ruined Jurassic Park base. Inside, obviously, they'd see the Triceratops, made to look in distress by the strobes. Various bloodied up workers beg the guests to run from the carnage going on, including Dr. Burton himself, the man responsible for these horrors. Guests would encounter a Dilophosaurus containment area with a large hole in it, obviously so they could see the Dilophosaurus and it spit at them. A scientist would come out from the hole as well, saying they've all escaped. Another scientist popped out behind some barrels. Velociraptors would pop out of the bushes looking for prey, and along the way, you'd find the gruesome fate of one of the Triceratops. It can be found decapitated near the very end, and at some point, you encounter the aforementioned man/dinosaur hybrids, waiting for you to be their next meal. And finally, ending the house, you see the terrible fate of Dr. Burton himself. It's revealed that he was actually hung by the Dino Man he had created. A pretty grotesque end. And you see, that decapitated Triceratops head is actually a prop from the Lost World Jurassic Park. And not only that, it was actually planned in the original idea to have a Tyrannosaurus Rex be encountered during this haunted house attraction. You see, guests would actually enter the queue next to the Jurassic Park Discovery Center, and the queue would go behind the Discovery Center itself and make its way to the Triceratops Discovery Trail. Now, if you need that as visualization, it's basically where Velocicoaster is now. That is where this haunted house was. And there was a giant set of double wooden doors that led into the first lab. And that is where all the nightmare would then unfold. For me, this would have been absolutely awesome, although I was probably too young at that stage to even know this existed, but if it came back today, I would definitely pay it a visit, and probably give myself some nightmares in the process. And as I said earlier, this was one of the darkest haunted houses Universal ever did for that period, and they launched a huge marketing campaign for it, behind the scenes and everything else. This was since lost to time, but has recently been rediscovered, and I'd like to play that in its entirety for you now. It's not very long, but really sets the scene for this entire attraction, and if you've made it this far, you definitely have to watch it.
There is no safety or security when it comes to the prehistoric creatures in Universal's Jurassic Park.
We took the theme that follows the movies, which is where the dinosaurs have gotten out of their existing cages and now roaming the island free.
And free they are. Packs of velociraptors stalk their unsuspecting prey, humans. Mutant half-men, half-dinosaurs are the hideous victims of a scientific experiment gone terribly wrong. Buried in the middle of this prehistoric predator's playground is Evolution, an outdoor haunted maze.
Evolution is a fun event. The Triceratops that you see asleep in the beginning and then basically gutted at the end was really a nice touch.
The Universal designers used an existing attraction called Triceratops Discovery Trail to create this haunted maze.
Our Triceratops animatronic in Discovery Trail isn't very threatening. It's not very scary. So what we did to remedy this is we built this stockade around here and we busted up all these big holes through here to make it look as though something violent and terrifying happened in here. Then to try and get heavy, quick movement inside, we have high-powered strobes placed around the stockade. And as they fire quickly, it makes it appear as though this animal's moving very quickly. Then, of course, we have a busted up, bloodied up Dr. Burton who comes right at you at this hole. Then later on, you'll see another animatronic of Dr. Burton after he's met his demise. We wanted to show the terror and the horror of some of these half-dino, half-human creatures that Dr. Burton created in his genetics labs. So we got a prop from the movie Lost World, which we had in our warehouses here at Universal Studios, and we made it look as though it was ripped right out of the animal, as though it got torn right out, spinal cord and all. And the interesting thing is, our prop builders just used AB foam for all of this goo and gore, the same kind of insulation foam you'd find in any hardware store.
Are you ready to come face to face with a velociraptor? then it's time to enter evolution. There is little hope for you, considering the fate of Dr. Burton. This trek through the jungle will bring you face to face with mutant creatures you've never even imagined.
It's really scary. You don't know what to expect. There's something next to you, in front of you, behind you. You never know what's going to happen. And I thought it was a great experience. I loved getting scared, so I had a lot of fun.
If marauding dinosaurs aren't disturbing enough, these performers look like they just stepped out of a sideshow.
And with that, did any of you actually visit this attraction during its prime? I'd love to know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, hit the like button and share it. And subscribe for plenty more Jurassic content like this. There's plenty on the channel, especially if you love dinosaurs, horror, and anything Jurassic. Massive thanks to my InGen security team who are on screen now, DVM Wannabe 1018, Hammer Time, and our Jurassic CEO, Joseph Frost Ghost. Thanks, guys. And if you came across a dinosaur mutant hybrid out in the open, could your day get any worse? You bet Jurassic can. Catch you later.